Paul Hoffert, Hoffart. My early life, uh, before I was saved, uh, a lot of stuff that went on in my life, it was not nice uh, in many, many ways. It, it developed a whole lot of anger in me. Uh, as I grew older, the friends that I would reach out to, they were always short lived. Uh, growing up, I had, I'd say, probably two like absolute best friends. Both of them passed away shortly after. Uh, so it became very easy for me to be a loner, which also fed the anger. And as the years and everything progressed, it turned into rage. Um, I got into a lot of stuff I never should have been into. Uh, got into drinking, got into doing drugs and stuff like that. I didn't take a whole lot of pride in, especially in my mid teens, for me to do some really not nice things, uh, which kind of like highlighted around my 15th birthday, and I was arrested for a Class B felony. Uh, I was, because it was my first offense, I was slated to go before a juvenile judge the day of the court hearing. The juvenile judge was absent, and so they put me in with the adults. So I was in an adult criminal court along with a few of the folks, the other kids that were on my docket. The judge I went before, those that are here from Texas would understand the name. It was Judge Ted Poe. He was not a friendly judge by any means. Uh, there was five other kids along with me that were on his docket. Most of them were repeat. Some of them were first time like I was. And he just started going down. The first two kids were for breaking and entering, and he gave them jail sentences. The next one was for auto theft. He gave him jail sentence. All I could do is I was starting to panic because I was thinking it's like I'm about to go to jail. Because when they had us in the back while they were doing the adult proceedings, we had a chance to talk, and they were all lesser crimes than what I had, and mine was arson. Uh, Friends would talk me into doing things to get rid of stuff. Well, he pulled up my name, and I was like, "This is it," you know. He was passing out jail time like it was, you know, he was throwing Mardi Gras beads. He had me stand up. He's like, "This your first offense?" I was like, "Yes, sir." Next thing I know, he's like, "Well, I'm giving you community service, 500 hours." And anybody that knows that particular judge, when he was a sitting judge, he was always very extravagant in some of the things he would have those that he sentenced to do. Well, it turns out when he'd made the community service decision, he pretty much signed all the rights I had as a kid, as put me as basically a ward of the state, and he put me to work in the fire department to do my community service. And I did my time. I did my community service. I followed all the stuff that he had lined out for me. And that pretty much, got rid of some of my misbehaving, my mischief. I spent a good long time doing nothing but drinking, and I drank a lot. As life would go on, different challenges and mishaps and stuff would happen, and I drank more than what a fish could drink in the water. It was no other way to put it. I got with my wife. I was still real heavy and into the drinking, still real bad with anger. She became saved, and then she was constantly, you need to go to church. You need to come with me to church. The more she did, the more agitated I got. When she finally laid everything down and went clean, I told her I would go clean. And I stopped drinking. Life still had its mishaps, and I still had the different angers and stuff like that. And eventually, as the booze left my system and everything, she wore me down, and I started going to church with her. And as I went to church, it was a hard pill for me to swallow, especially after seeing a lot of stuff that I'd seen, being in the fire service, a lot of stuff that I'd seen growing up, a lot of stuff that had happened to me, growing up and throughout life. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. And they kept talking about forgiveness. I was like, how can I forgive when nobody's ever forgiven me? It's like, hey. But I started going to church, a lot of it just to pacify her. And slowly but surely it started taking root. Those seeds that were planted started to sprout and started to show me different things. We'd separated for a little bit, and all the things were just right for me to fall back into my old stuff. I'd go out to drink in my younger day, and it was a dual purpose. It was not just to drink, but it was also to fight. I was in pain. I wanted to see somebody else in pain. Just that's the way it was. And during that time, the stage was set. It was like I had my choice. Do I go back and fight that headache all over again? Or do I actually try to apply what the church has all been saying, give it to Him and receive that freedom? So piece by piece, I started to give it to Him. The more the trials started hitting, some of them I'd fail, but most of them, I would give it to Him. Really thought I really thought I had it all figured out. You know, anger was not really an issue anymore. Uh, Rage was not an issue anymore. We'd separated again, and I ended up getting sick. I'd never been one that was big on doctors to begin with, you know. It's just, so when I started feeling sick, it was like, well, it's allergies. Well, it's been a nasty season, so it's still allergies. I'm feeling weak. Yeah, well, it's because I haven't been feeling good. It was allergies. Ended up getting sent to the hospital, and I get sent to the hospital, and the doctors come in. They drew so much blood from me. It was like, I ain't got that much in me, guys. Y'all need to just lay it off. But they stuck me in and drew blood and stuck and drew blood. And then after just a little bit, a couple hours, the test started coming back.
Take your time.
The ER doc, he came in, had a stack of papers. He rolled up. He sat down. He opened them up, rolled them back up. He looked around the room, and then he looked at me. He's like, you have leukemia. You ain't gonna make it through the week. I can't treat you here. We don't have that. So I'm sending you off. Stood up, walked out the room. Oh, that pissed me off like there was no tomorrow. I was so weak. And I was thinking in my head, it's like, this doctor's so glad. He should be so grateful. I'm so weak. If I only got a week, I had no problem just laying into him. The nurse came back in. The next thing I know, they're hanging blood products on me. The nurse is like, we got to do something. The blood in your system is no good. It's not doing you any good. We got to try to put something in there. We'll just keep running blood on you until the ambulance shows up to take you downtown. About 9 o'clock that night, I get moved from the hospital here in town to the big hospital in Houston. As soon as I show up there, they start doing the same thing. A bunch of blood work. I'm not feeling as bad as what I did earlier, but I'm still very, very weak. And they do all the blood and everything. A couple hours later, the nighttime doctor that was receiving me on that floor, she came in. And she's like, it doesn't look good. You have leukemia. And she actually called it the right one. It was acute myeloid leukemia. She's like, I don't think you'll make it through the week. Tomorrow, the oncologists and stuff will come in and see you. They had 7 units of blood that they put into me before the oncologist came in. Oncologist is like, this is not good. but I'm confident we can get you. He goes, it won't be easy. And then they started me up on chemo. I'd got my head and my heart on the same page. And at first, I was like, I'm going to make it this week, just so I could tell them that they were full of. But after they started the chemo, and that hurt. And then they explained to me exactly what the chemo was designed to do. My heart and my head got on the same page. It's like, this ain't getting me. I got too many wrongs. I got it right. I made it through the first week. I lost track of how many bags of blood they had on me. It seems like I was getting two bags per day, just for them, just trying to keep something in my system. They were running all types of stuff on me 24 hours a day. I made it through the first week. I was on the last day of chemo, and my body shut down. They stopped me on the chemo and started doing everything else. I made it through that. They had doctors. I didn't even know that those were actually doctor positions. I had seen so many doctors. It was unreal. A couple days later, they all start coming back through, and seeing me and checking on me and stuff. They're like, well, your heart's good. You ain't got to worry about that. The other doctors came through, and it's like, well, these are starting to look promising. 4 days after that, my body tried to shut down again. It wasn't as near as bad of an episode as what the first go around was, but it was definitely not a fun situation. I remember after that one, I'm starting to regain my strength and stuff back. And then I'm able to start feeling the extra stuff, because when your body shuts down like that, well, they slap all types of stickers all over you. And I'm not a hairless person. So I had bald patches everywhere. Yeah. And it didn't feel good when they were ripping off all that stuff. I was like, all this other stuff hurt, but I don't know if I can handle it anymore. My hair is getting ripped out like that. The doctors, they kept me in, and they gave me a daily number check. And after the chemo, all my numbers steadily just went down. And they're like, it's okay. It's supposed to do that. And then they'll start coming back up. And towards the tail end of my stay, what was it, 40 days? 37? 37 days in the hospital, my numbers started spiking. And they came up really fast, and they started running all their tests all over again. And when they first started running all those tests, I had more cancer in my blood system than I did anything else. I had hardly no platelets. They were able to like give me an actual count on platelets in my system, and most of those numbers were less than what you count up on your hands. And then at the end, they were doing all those same tests, and all my numbers were going exactly the way they were supposed to. And the cancer numbers got to where they were having trouble counting them. Early on, after I was diagnosed and everything, I was telling my wife, I was telling everybody that came in, I'm believing that I'll be healed. I'll walk out of here because God's going to do what He's supposed to do. And He has. I've had tests run since I've gotten out, and everything's still showing very, very good. No real cancer numbers to even be noted. The only thing that they've told me is my iron levels are out of whack, so I'm having to change my diet to help take care of that. And that's pretty much where we're at now. So